The gentleman who sat down with a cap on is probably the best known of all. He is Neville Delport, the elected provincial secretary of the ANC. And he is coming today to tell us about this growing realignment that is developing inside the ANC to choose values that the ANC once stood for, or thought they stood for, which is non-racialism, non-sexism, and the rule of law. And Neville is holding firm to those ideas. Then we have Jason Don. Jason, that's Jason Don, who is on the regional executive of the ANC in the West region. Then we have Daniel Baikies, a ward councillor from Bonnievale, from Swellendam municipality. And he is a ward councillor who's taken his principles in his hand and has said, I'm prepared to fight my ward again, but I'm not prepared to fall in with a set of values that I don't support. And then we have Paulus Strauss, who's a ward councillor in a place called Krawater. It's a tiny little place in the Cedarburg municipality. That basically, I argued, would be a process of the disintegration of the ANC, with some of that party's base coming to the Democratic Alliance and the other part going to the far left, represented by parties like MK and the EFF. Parties that don't believe in constitutionalism and the rule of law, parties that believe in racial nationalism. Those are the parties represented by MK and the EFF. On the other side is the DA, a party that believes in non-racialism, inclusion, a growing economy, the rule of law, and constitutionalism, the only basis on which any democracy anywhere in the world has ever succeeded, and the only way South Africa can succeed. Now, that process of realignment has been going on for a very long time. Since I started arguing that position, we've had the breakaway of the EFF from the ANC, which is part of that realignment. We've had the breakaway of MK from the ANC, which is part of that realignment. And we have had the progressive development and build up of the Democratic Alliance, representing the polar opposite of those far left racial nationalist and socialist parties that have been growing steadily over the years. And in fact, as the process of the disintegration of the ANC continues, so the DA will continue to draw those in the ANC who want to support our vision of the future. Today is an important milestone in that process. We have a few people here today who are going to talk about the tip of the iceberg of a much bigger movement developing in the ANC that is going to be a major step in the realignment of politics in South Africa. Today, we have some very important people, backed by many others in the Western Cape, coming here today to talk about that, and to tell you that we moved this very quickly, this press conference, because obviously you can't have these discussions behind the scenes without them getting out, and that's why we thought we would move this press conference up front and have it more quickly than rather wait until all of the troops were aligned to make this announcement. So there's a lot more work happening behind the scenes.
Obviously, there will be two by-elections, and I've said to you that Daniel Baikies is now 2 weeks a councillor, sitting councillor in the Langeberg municipality. We become very close during that campaign, and I've even said at the time when I arrived there, the ANC brand is not selling, but Daniel Baikies is selling. And therefore, we took Daniel before the DA could arrive there and took him as a ward councillor. So there will be two by-elections.